This episode of Jack is brought to you by Weaver Leather. We're here now with Greg Gassner from Strasburg that a lot of you have heard in the introduction to Stacy's ride. So, Greg, what made you want to get into reining, and what did you do before you started riding with us?
Well, before I started riding with you guys, it was mostly just trail riding, camping, going trail riding. We always went down to Congress, and I always wanted to get there to watch the reining classes. And I like the spinning and the running fast circles and the rollbacks and that kind of stuff. And just one year, I decided I was going to try to find a trainer, and happened on to you guys through another friend.
Through another friend?
Well, another girl in the area had said, had told me someone, and I can't even remember his name, about you guys, and that's when I called you. So I think I talked to you at Congress for 1 year, yeah.
Yeah, you talked to me
Congress
at
at 1 year,
Congress.
and then just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
What do you remember about Greg first meeting us and coming to ride with us?
I remember when I met Greg at the Congress, actually, for the first time. He came up and he watched me show and said someone had told him about us, and he watched me show at the Congress and said he liked the way I ride and he was interested in getting into reining, and so he wanted to find a horse to start showing in the Green Rainer, and asked if I would be willing to help him learn how to ride reining horses and find him a Green Rainer.
And you did. You found him. How'd you guys
Silver.
find? You found Silver, and then he just started showing in the Green Rainer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of interesting because Roxy had been born and she'd been sent to us in training. I had ridden Dolly, her mother, when I was in school, and Roxy'd been sent to us to train, but we didn't have enough money to buy her when they decided about 2 months into training her that they wanted to sell her. And it was interesting because Greg had met Jesse and had been taking some lessons from Jesse, and he had made what kind of comment to you at one point?
Well, he said if you ever find a horse that you think might be a nice horse that you're training, and you ever find one that's for sale, let me know. I might be interested in buying one that you think will turn into a nice horse.
And it was interesting because sometimes the connections don't happen quite as fast as you would think they would. Because I remember when Roxy was for sale, she was actually advertised, and I remember a trainer coming to look at her and riding her, and I remember being so upset and just looking at Jesse and saying, what can we do, because we don't have enough money to buy her. And he said, well, he just kept racking his brain and thinking about it, and then one day he just kind of popped up and said, this guy said if we ever found a nice horse. And so Greg went from a guy that hauled in and took some lessons and started showing with us to going out on a limb and buying Roxy. My favorite part is remembering how when I was at expos and different places, people would come up to me and they would just say, I can't believe you don't own Roxy. I can't believe you don't own Roxy. Why don't you try to buy her? Have you ever thought about, trying to get together all the money that it would take to buy her? And it was just always hard to get people to really understand what it meant. That when we were broke, we were just starting out in the training, we'd been going, things were just starting to really roll with us, but we were not really well known when Greg stepped up there. And it meant so much to me that he went out on a limb and put his money out there and said, I trust you enough to buy this horse. I believe in your program enough to let you not only buy this horse for you, but to pay you to train this horse. You got to think, he started training her as a 2-year-old, and the video that you see with the Live Like You Were Dying was when she was 5 years old, and he had kept her in training with us that entire time. And so it's hard for people to understand the relationship that we have with this person who owns Roxy, Greg. It's hard for them to understand how much that meant. So I never regretted that Greg owned her ever.
Even though I kept her secret for 2 months, 3 months. Didn't tell anybody I bought her, but
Oh, you didn't tell anyone you bought her?
no.
I remember when you told me you bought her.
I just didn't really want to hear everybody saying, "What, do you need another horse for you know?" all this kind of stuff.
So it was just a secret, huh?
Yeah, it was a secret for a couple months, and
Well, it turned out okay.
yeah, it did. Yep.
And actually, you have Roxy's mother out here, and Roxy's full sister
Full
now
sister,
too,
yeah.
Maggie, who we had. So, one question: did you ever think about selling Roxy?
For a short period of time, that
Uh-huh.
was something I thought about, and then it was just I said there was a bond there that I had with her, not like Stacy had, but a bond that and I, she just, to me, she was part of the family, so she wasn't really going to go anywhere.
Yeah. And so with all the performances, like at the Congress and the World Equestrian Games and being on Ellen, is there one that kind of stands out more than the others of some of the things that Roxy did?
Yeah, I think the Bridleless and Bareback was the big one. That was
At the Congress?
yeah, at the Congress. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and that was actually, I believe, the second time we had seen that, because we seen it in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Linda and I had seen it, and then when we came back, it was.
That's
at
right. Yeah.
Congress,
Yep.
So that was the big one. That was the emotional one.
Right. Yeah, that's we've never put out the video that she did in Tulsa.
My
on
circles were better in
YouTube.
Tulsa.
Yeah, her circles.
The
were better
arena's
in
bigger.
Tulsa.
I gotta go faster.
Right. We'll have to put that one on YouTube
Yeah.
sometime.
Again, the one where you got reserve champion the first time she, that's the first I'd ever had a horse at Congress, so that was pretty big too. When you had her that was just as a 3-year-old. So that was.
Yeah,
That was
that was
pretty
exciting
exciting.
for me too.
Mhm.
That was exciting for me too. And so with you have 2 daughters of Roxy, and now you have a granddaughter of Roxy. You have her full sister and her mother here too. You're breeding them to some nice stallions and hoping to raise some of those up and get them trained. Or what are your goals with those?
I just would like to have him be good and competitive. Athletic. I would like to see him be athletic. But you've been helping me with the breedings to try to get some good combinations and stuff. And I'd like to show some, and I did show the one just recently, and I mean it was a lot of fun that I
Right.
did on that. So that was
Was fun.
that was kind of a bucket list of mine to show one of Roxy's babies, because I tried to show Roxy and it never really worked out that well.
Just a little bit like riding a rocket ship with
Yeah,
all kinds of buttons.
Yeah, she had a lot. She had a lot of buttons.
So, but yeah, I'm more looking for that, just for my own satisfaction, I think, rather than sure somebody is very interested in them and they're going to go to a good home. That's one thing, but for the most part, it's just for my enjoyment.
Yeah.
Now, there was a little bit of, when you started watching the first one that you sold do real well, I remember you struggled a little bit going back and forth, like, oh, did I do the right thing?
Yeah.
Back and forth. And
Yeah.
how'd that work out for you?
I'm really okay with it because, well, for the first thing is I don't have facilities for stallions, and we have all mares here, and that just adds a whole new dimension to it. You have to have separate pastures and different stalling arrangements, and it just works the way it is with mares right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not too terribly upset that I don't have him anymore, and it's good to see him doing good over there. That's exciting.
And you get to come out and be with them every day.
Yeah. And I come out here and I do my head count every day, make sure make sure they're all here and they're all up on all fours and not tangled up somewhere or hurt or.
Molly?
This will be draw 3, exhibitor number 3353, Wizards Baby Doll, owned by Greg Gessner of Strasburg, Ohio. Stacy Westfall
Okay,
will
so-
be riding.
And so when that video went viral with Roxy and Stacy, you had people that recognized you from the intro.
Yes, and I had some phone calls. Is that really your horse? And and is she really deaf? I had people just show up out here a couple of times that wanted to try to catch Roxy here and see Roxy, and I had people call and ask if she was here, if they could come out and see her. They had some people come from Pennsylvania over to just to see her, and so it was different from what I was used to. I mean, I'm not used to having people looking me up.
Right.
It was, I had the concerns of, do I have good enough facilities to keep it when it's not at the trainers, and just I think when I was watching someone else show the horse, I was actually more nervous than when I would go in and show the horse. It would just, for some reason, it just was really nerve-wracking for me, watching him show. But
That's probably because I exhausted you before you would show every
Yeah.
time. I'd make you ride at 2:00 in the morning.
yeah. But that's okay, because I probably wouldn't have slept anyway, because I was always so nervous. But it was when somebody else was riding it, it was almost like I was watching a family member out there, show my horse, and kind of like a member of my family showing a member of my family. It was
Right.
So it was nerve-wracking. It was, and I'd sit there and think it wasn't going to be, and then as soon as they'd say the name of the rider and the horse, and the knots would tie up in my stomach, I kind of just wanted to leave. Didn't want to really watch it, but so.
Natural.
Okay.
And so we met, it must have been in 2002,
I think so.
2001 or 2002.
Somewhere around there, yeah, at
Something like
Congress,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, you've been a customer and a friend for a long time.
Yeah.
So 12 or 13 years. You've
Yep.
seen our kids grow up.
Yeah. And the one getting ready to drive now, and I've been around him a lot.
Yeah.
I do. I consider you guys friends as well as trainers. It's more than
Right.
just a trainer. I trust you guys. I trust, trusted you with my horses, and if you tell me something, that's kind of what I tended to go with, because I believed in you, and I know you know the breeding part of it pretty well, and so I call you and tell you to get thinking of who I'm going to breed to when they start having the stallion auctions and stuff, and going like that, and we tried trying to ride Roxy, and that didn't work. And Stacy worked with me and tried to make it so I could ride it, but there was just too many buttons. But that was okay. That was fine. I wouldn't
Learning
trade.
to fly a rocket ship.
Yeah,
That was probably nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade any of that. Yeah, because the couple times I did show her, I felt like everybody's like, "Oh, this is gonna be awesome," and then I go in there and it's just can't get her to change leads.
It was the horse. She wasn't any good.
Yeah.
The other really neat thing over the years has been that we had this great relationship with Greg starting from way back when he first stepped out and believed in us.
Yeah, I felt totally comfortable with her down at your place, down there when I wasn't around, which is really where she spent most of her time, was down there. I knew she was always well taken care of, and if she needed anything, any medical attention or anything, you would, of course you would contact me, but I was sure you guys would take care of it and get what she needed. So I was lucky all the way around with you guys and with her, or fortunate, I guess, more so than lucky.
Yeah, she was definitely a special horse for a lot of people.
Me trying to lead change and Stacy telling me to change. I think I yelled out, "I'm trying." She won't.
What might be kind of a fun story is the one with Caitlin. And so another neat memory with Roxy is when we did the clinic with Change Through Chance. And Caitlin came over. So her mom, when she got there, her mom was telling us that, she'd had quite a few brain surgeries, if I remember right. And she was getting ready to have another surgery, and it was really serious. And she wanted to bring her over. And so they asked if she could see Roxy, because there were a lot of people there. It was a clinic.
Yeah.
And I took them back into the stall where people weren't allowed to go, and let her spend a little time with Roxy. And then we asked you if it would be all right with you if she rode her. And so that was really cool.
Yeah.
That she got to ride her, and you gave her her Roxy's halter that had her name
Yeah.
on it. Do you remember that? And do you remember what she did with it when she went into? She had the surgery, and her mom said she
Oh.
took the.
That's right. She took the halter in with her. Yeah.
Yep, while she had that surgery that her mom said was going to be such a major surgery, and they were really concerned about. And she carried that halter in with her. That was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it made her whole year. That girl, she just loved Roxy and she loved Stacy, and I believe Stacy pulled some of the tail hairs out of Roxy and braided them for her, and that, and then I gave her a set of Roxy's sliding shoes and stuff. So she's definitely a Roxy and Stacy fan. Like I said, I think it made her whole day or her whole year.
Yeah.
Jesse?
We got 2 by Smart Spook out of her, and the Hang 10 Surprise and Jack's Electric Spark. So I think we picked some really nice studs to breed her to.
And those were all 4 of the studs that Roxy was crossed with, that all were embryo transfer foals. So those were all the ones that were born before she actually tried carrying her own. And so they've gone on and done very well. The first one was a stallion, and he was sold because Greg is, up until he decided to take the riding lessons with us for reining, he did a lot of trail riding and just general riding. But then, having owned Roxy, he started a breeding program around her. And he had the 4 foals. The first one was sold, and that one went on and has done really well.
Yeah, he's been showing as a Derby horse over in Europe, and his last 2 runs have been a 223.5 and 224.5, and he won both those classes. So he's doing really well.
And, Greg sold the stud not because he didn't like him or think he was going to be a nice horse, but because he decided to keep the mare from that year, and then he went ahead and kept the mare from the next year. And he's kept those 2 mares, and then he still has Jack.
Right. And now he has, an embryo out of Maya, which is the Hang 10 Surprise by Gonna Trash Ya. So that would be a granddaughter of Roxy. And Chloe is in foal this year to Hang 10 Surprise. So that'll be another granddaughter of Roxy.
It will. But I think that sometimes people don't realize that the 2 mares are there because the tough part about breeding is that things don't always work out the way you want them to, meaning that the older mare, which is Chloe, actually they don't even know how, bumped her knee, chipped her knee, did something to her knee when she was young, and so she has this blemish on her knee, and but Greg's willing to keep her, and he's actually showing her now some, and so he's going to keep her, and she doesn't necessarily have to go out and do everything Roxy did to prove herself to Greg, because Greg already believes in the breeding and the bloodlines. And then, Maya also ran into just a little snag and ended up, needing to get surgery done on one of her legs. Just because you're not seeing them all out there, and it doesn't mean that they're not there. They're still here. Happy horses in the pasture, and the bloodlines are continuing on.
That one behind us actually is a granddaughter of Roxy. That one is by Gonna Trash Ya, and it is out of Maya, the Hang 10 Surprise.
And
okay, so what does it feel like to buy a horse as a 2-year-old, and all this has happened with her?
It's basically, it's kind of been unreal. I mean, it's still, I had people say to me they can't imagine having a horse like that, and I'm like, well, I never really rode her that much, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's just a whole different perspective of the horse world. I mean, I never imagined that when I got the 2-year-old that she would be, into that, go to that greatness, but it's kind of undescribable.
Right. I mean, she had a Breyer horse
Breyer
model
horse,
made
yeah.
after her. I remember when when the Smart Spook cult went through the sale at the NRHA Futurity,
Right.
Vic Clark said, "This horse is out of arguably the most famous reining horse ever." Who was Roxy? I mean, she is one of the most famous horses
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
I mean, she has been seen all over the world, you know, on YouTube, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, it has. It's. I mean, there really is no words for it. I mean, sometimes I think, you know, did this really happen? Is it really? You know, when I watch the videos and stuff of the bridleless and bareback, I'm thinking, unbelievable. You know, I can't believe that that's my horse. But you know, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.